So, part three. Part three of us just peeling back some of these layers, having this talk that most men try to avoid, and hopefully, by us having these conversations, it's allowing other men to be comfortable enough to have these conversations and look in the mirror and see the things that you need to work on.
Right. All right, let's get into it. Okay. All right, if you could sit down with your younger self, what advice would you give them? For me, I would say, go out there and try those things that like you're afraid of. Funny story, when I was probably like in middle school, high school, I want to say like maybe 8th, 9th grade, I wanted to be a wrestler when I grew up.
You still do?
It's too late now, but to be taken seriously. But I remember I wanted to do that, and I mapped it out. So I was like, I'm gonna go the Kurt Angle route. I'm gonna be on the high school wrestling team. I'm gonna join the collegiate wrestling team, Olympics, WWE gonna call me. So
I had that dream too. I wanted to be a wrestler too.
Yeah.
I used to 2v1.
Haven't offered rides, nor order me a lift. I'm just trying to be in your presence since you blessed me with this gift. All of my friends dead and gone. No time to right their wrongs. Heaven must have.
My cousins and my brother wrestling. So hey, you ain't the only one.
So the thing was, I joined the wrestling team in high school, and there was like this, our first, I went to all the practices and stuff, and things were like going great. The first meet that we were supposed to have, it was in Racine. My mom said that she didn't want to take me. It was too early. So I had no way to get there. It's Racine. Like, if you're not taking me, then I have no way of getting there. So I remember that day, like it was Saturday. I'm just like sitting at home playing video games. She comes down the stairs and she was like, I thought you had that wrestling thing today. It's like, well, yeah. How was I supposed to get there? And she was like, I knew you quit. And from that, I was like, you know what? You're right. I am going to quit. So I would say to my younger self, actually chase after those dreams. If I wanted it, and I did want it, but if I really wanted something, then nothing should have stopped me from going after it. I could have maybe tried to reach out to a teammate, the coach or something. Never actually give up and chase those dreams, because it was a significant roadblock, but there are going to be roadblocks in the way for anything that you're trying to pursue.
Yeah. It's a good one. If younger me can talk to me, I'm trying to see if we even have a conversation, because we'll probably be roasting each other. Older me and be like, bro, you can't talk to me, you ain't got no mustache. Older me be like, man, you get your old ass probably. Fight your braids don't touch your neck. That's what older stuff. The older me would say, man, your curly hair ass, boy, you get your, how can you speak Spanish ass, boy? What you Spanish?
You can't speak Spanish. I speak Spanish, oh.
I speak Spanish. My mama taught me everything, oh. You know what I'm saying? But then once we finally get to roast each other 2 days later, older me would just tell younger me don't let your family be a hindrance. Meaning so I remember me wanting to go to Marquette, but then I was like, nah, I can't go to Marquette because my family here. And I finished school with no problem. I'm like, I could just see just family problem after family problem after family problem. So I'm like, I can't go to Marquette, which I wanted to go play Tom Crean and play basketball. That was one of the things that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Bad enough it was already hard because my first, so I guess we could backtrack. One of your favorite things. We gotta backtrack a little bit. So my first sport was baseball.
Okay. Because of the Puerto Rican name?
See, I knew you was going to this so racist. Why? Why? I knew you was going why?
It makes sense though. Like the black was called for basketball.
Hey, the black
Bet you threw a mean curveball.
The black and Puerto Rican side, we constantly was fighting each other. It's like baseball, no basketball, no baseball, no basketball. I probably was on the field with the baseball like, step back.
Sammy Sosa, no. Michael Jordan.
Just that in no battle. Chicken, no rice. Nachos, no burritos. Oh, salsa, no hot sauce. Like, oh man, hurt me had curls. The backside was braids. I could just tell it was just all confused. Hey, which parade to show up to?
Oh Lord, Juneteenth or Puerto Rican Pride? What are we doing?
Oh man. Oh man. Oh man. I feel like we need to have a part 4.
Oh man.
But so my dad, he was in a farm system for the Oakland A's.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. So he was a good baseball player. He even the old Brewers announcer that passed away recently. So he had photos with my dad. He have videos of his grandfather talking to the announcer about my dad and he knew my dad's name by heart. Like, yeah, Miguel Diaz, he's going to be such a special player.
Oh wow.
You know, yeah. So drugs got a hold of him, and not just that. You know, he was just young when he had my sisters and my brothers. So of course life happened.
Yeah.
So which he had to stop playing. And I think that's where I got that from. So, and that goes with another thing where I say about my dad playing one-on-one by himself, but he was super high. He randomly showed with a basketball. That's the same thing for baseball, where I wanted to work on pitching. I wanted to work on my outfitting, my hitting and stuff. He knew I was taking up baseball. Again, I never knew where he came from. He just showed up with a bat and a ball. I really thinking back at it, like, should I even touch that bat? Because I probably was an accomplice. Like, was he really teaching me baseball, or did he need my fingerprints?
Right. Did he bludgeon somebody for the basketball?
Yeah, like did he just get them breaking into some cards with this bat? Like, dang, think about it, I wasn't smart at all. But
He young there, just put him in juvie.
yeah, he'll be alright. Son, you'll be alright. Toughen up. If anything, let the Puerto Rican side act like you don't know no English. Just look up when they talk to you. Why do Hispanics do that when they don't know the answer? Why do you look up like the answer is there? Like, guys ain't about to give you English. English ain't Bluetooth. Like English Bluetooth. Like English Bluetooth. Like you about to connect. Like, ding. Oh yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. But you know, like, so. Me, I learned how to pitch really because he was a major league, of course. So, like, just trying to sneak the ball past him. So that's where I learned how to throw curveball, sliders, iffiest pitch, knuckle curve, two-seam fastball, which it had life to it. So, but I only imagine being a high school player and you have to go against somebody like me. You're not used to going against a curveball, a slider, a knuckle curve, all those type of pitches.
Right. They just throw the fastball.
Yeah. So, but I always wanted to be a baseball player. But with the school I went to, it was a bad public school. So academically, what we started the season with, the players, we didn't end with. So if there was like a lot of half seasons, and one season, I think only like 3 or 4 of us was eligible. So they ended up cutting the baseball team. So that's how I picked up basketball. So I guess, and then after that, I got, fast forward, when I was in the G League, something told me, do not come back home. But I came back home, and that's where, mom got sick, and everybody just seemed like they had problems. And then, so if it was older me talking to younger me, I'd have been like, I know your heart is in the right place, but sometimes you have to sacrifice things just so you can pursue your dreams.
Yeah.
Like they did them, it's time for you to do you. So older me would tell younger me, like, just pray. What's that saying you said? I'm gonna pray for you yesterday. I'm gonna pray for you. Won't he do it?
Right.
So I would just put it in God's hands and allow God to work things out versus me trying to do things for myself. And I think that would have been great for me. So I think that's the advice I give myself, like,
because it would have been great for you, and then like once you accomplish everything, you would be able to, like help them out and things.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the advice.
Yeah.
Whew. I feel like I need to joke now.
We just did that whole thing. That was foolish.
Having flashbacks.
I'm gonna start using it if somebody look up what you think God gonna give you English? I was like, I would start using that.
But don't they do that? They're like, yeah, they talk to Hispanic. They really don't speak English that well. Watch how they just look up.
It's like they almost got the comic book thought bubble right next to them. You want somebody to write in there? What?
And then you gotta play what is that, charades or picture? Then they start pointing and stuff. You gotta figure it out. They start doing things what? Can I buy a vowel?
Right.
Oh man, how important is religion, spirituality in your own personal growth? It's very important, and I won't even make this story long, but religion and spirituality is super important for me, for many reasons. Because I remember it was a time, so and this is part of the time when I had came back from making it, to the G League and trying out doing that stuff. So I remember when I first came back, there was so many family problems. There was so much death circling around the family, and it was different things going on. At this time, my fiance and I, we did have our daughter, but it was so many different problems. We were trying to figure out life, and then my mom got sick, and it's weird because the kids, she decided to say, you know what, I'll be a part of their lives. When she got sick, they abandoned her. And then me, because of my heart, I decided to say, you know what, let me take care of my mom. So I moved in with her, and then I helped pay the rent. I'll cook it for my brother at the time when he was staying with her because he was still young. And then it brought me back to my childhood, because I remember when I was in high school, I was a kid raising a kid, not my own kid, but I had to take care of my little brother because my mom had my little brother at a late age. So it took me back to a kid raising a kid. So me being in that situation was very triggering. And then at this time, I was going to a church, and I said, I'm not going to name names, but I was all into the church. I was even a up and coming, would you say, a pastor or something. So I was Bible studies. I used to go there on Thursdays. We have 5 minutes where we can preach on the podium. I felt, yeah, I felt all good in the pulpit and stuff.
Yeah.
They ain't give me none of that pastor water, but but I felt good. Right? I finally felt like I found my calling, you know, in tune with God and everything. That pastor always was preaching love, unity, family. He ended up having an affair, and it was like public with the church, where the person, his side chick, if you call it, was in the front row, and the first lady was in the church too. So it's like,
what church you go to? Greenleaf?
man, so like it was just terrible. And then finally he up and decided to say, I'm getting a divorce, and this is my last sermon. Like, I sold the church.
Were you in Greenleaf?
Man, like, no, this is a true story. So then finally, I was doing my personal study and stuff. So then I ended up going back to another church, a family member church, and then her husband at the time, like, you know, you can see signs of somebody not very being masculine, but you don't want to label them, you know, gay.
Yeah.
You know, but he had a lot of feminine features to him, the way he talked, the way he walked. I mean, no man should really be pointing like this. I mean, like, stuff like this. So I remember him picking me up from a game, and then he like, can you do you mind if I pick up my friend? And I'm like, no, cool, you pick up your friend. So he's like, can you get in the back seat? So I get in the back seat, and the first thing the guy said was, man, where the fuck is my fruitcake? I thought you was gonna bake me a cake. So they arguing with each other like boyfriend and girlfriend. So uncomfortable, right? So I didn't pay no attention to it. I come to choir rehearsal early, and this very pastor was doing inappropriate things with my uncle. I'm gonna leave it as that, right? And got with a church finger like this, and I just walked right out. And at that point, I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to church again. And then it was a lot of stuff in my life that I feel like I was on a high, and then I get back low. High, right back low. It's that radio wave, as I call it, up and down. And I just feel like I just couldn't get past that barrier.
Yeah.
I feel like once I get to a point where I'm comfortable, I start right back over. And I was trying to figure out in that mix, like, how do I fix this?
Yeah.
How do I fix this? Like, depression was starting to creep in, and I just seemed like I was at a dark period in my life where I just wasn't happy, and I was searching for a religion because I knew God was missing in that equation.
Okay.
But then, because I wanted to get my fiance and I out of a certain situation, I'm just like, I gotta work, and I never found time for God. I was always work, and then until one day I was just like, you know what? I gotta find time for God. He always finds time for me no matter what, so I gotta find time for God. So I ain't gonna lie, like, I started studying with the Jehovah's Witnesses.
I tried that.
Yeah. And to me, that found my way back to God, because I remember I didn't own a suit, nothing. But my first day at the Kingdom Hall, I remember them looking at me, was like, hey, brother, you know what? You're one of us now. You need a suit. You need this. You need that. Like, we can help you. Like, and no lie, like, they gave me suits. Some of them own like apartment buildings, so they were just like, look, we don't need to do a background check, like, you are good. Like, so that's how I was able to get up out of that bad situation with my mom. And they got me an apartment, and then I started to figure out things that was triggering me. And then, like, ever since then, like, my fiance and I, we've been on a better path because of my journey with the witnesses. So, like, they led me back to God. So I feel like in the midst of all this craziness that's going on, you always got to find time for God.
Yeah. No, and it's for me, and it's interesting that you mentioned that, is because, like you said, like, you got to make time for God because God makes time for you. And I feel like whenever, like, certain things like what happened, somehow, like, I was always directed back to God.
Yeah.
You know, and it was always like there somehow. I remember when my mom passed away, I was just, like, I wasn't like necessarily in like the funk that you would be like from, you know, like a deceased relative, especially like, you know, parent. But when she had passed, I just like she had gave me this. She gave me like a starter Bible when I graduated from high school.
Yeah.
So it just had like all these like, you know, like if you're looking for this, then, you know, like turn to this page, that type of thing. If you're looking for, you know, like guidance and how to do this and all these things. So I remember just like opening it randomly, and I know like people always like make it seem like it's not real or whatever, but I'm looking at this Bible in the dark, and I just see like this bright light like glowing from like the other side of the room. And like I've told people that, and it's like, dude, like you probably was like dreaming, half sleep or something. And I was like, no. I felt like something was like calling, basically. Like, you know, I had went and like looked at that, and I did something right, and I was like being shown proof that I was like doing something right in doing that. It's just always one of those things where like whenever you do need God, it's like God is there for you, even when you're not looking. Because like it always seems like the answer does end up being with that. Whenever like big moments have happened in my life, and like it could be, you know, like divine, it could be serendipitous, but gospel music always plays like just randomly. What's his name? Melvin Pugh. That Shower Down, I think it's called. Man, first of all, song way too hard to be a gospel. Way too hard. That man was going crazy. Like, it's just whenever like I do have like those like dark moments in my life, I feel like there's always, you know, like a path back to God somehow because of that. So it's important to me. Like I don't go to church as frequently as I should. I am one of those like, you know, Christmas, Easter people, and like I could definitely find more time to do it, especially with like how available it is now. Even, you know, doing it online, you can just like, you know, click into a church. So, but it's always prevalent in my life.
Yeah, the power of prayer is real. For me, my song is what is that song? Something about the name Jesus. Oh yeah, that's the song for me. That's my go-to. People are like, why ain't the car crying? Something about these streets. Feel like you with that song with your wife. That's how you feel. You ain't even listening, man.
You don't feel it. You feel it. All right. Do you think gender roles still exist? Now, this one's interesting for me because I feel like they exist when it's convenient.
Yeah.
But I do feel like in some aspects there should be gender roles in certain things. Now, like I feel like you know, as being a man, like, you know, a man should be, you know, like the protector, the provider. Not necessarily saying that, you know, like a woman shouldn't also like you know, like do things like play her part, I suppose. But I do feel like there are certain things like that, you know, that are expected out of both men and women.
Yeah. For me, I'll say, do gender roles still exist? No. And this is one of those questions that I feel like we need to do a full episode on.
And we do need to get some women in here to like...
Yes. So this is one of those episodes, questions that look forward to an episode off this question.
Okay.
But for me, I would say no, only because, like you said, it's only when it's convenient, right? When it's time to pay a bill, when it's time to be a protector, when it's time to be something that's convenient for them. Other than that, it's 2025. I can do my own. I can make my own money. I can do my own until you can't.
Yeah.
So that's where I feel like roles don't exist, because women don't allow a man to really be a man, but then want to question if they're a man, right? You're not the man that I need you to be. You're not allowing me to be the man that you need me to be.
Yeah, but I also feel like it kind of goes off what we were talking about before, you know, like the choosing of, you know, like either like the man or woman. So you have women who basically had to assume more of that dominant or like masculine role in the relationship because like the guy wasn't doing what they were supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
So now once like that matches up, all of a sudden it's like, you won't let me be a man for you because you've been so accustomed to having to be the man in the relationship.
Yeah, or you didn't have, you know, certain things growing up, so you had to be strong.
Yeah.
And you had to do things on your own. But now you have somebody here that can take care of that stuff. So allow them to take care of that stuff. And that goes back to the question we asked yesterday, being vulnerable. Women, you have to be vulnerable too.
Yeah.
Like, nobody want that woman that's dominant. Like, that's not attractive at all.
Yeah. I think, because like even that phrase that you get nowadays, that soft girl era.
Yeah.
Like, I understand it, but at the same time, like, it should have never gotten to the point where that was even necessary to begin with. A soft girl era.
Yeah.
You should have always been able to be that.
Yeah, like, we understand you can make your own money. That's great. Right? That's great. Doesn't mean you have to try to be dominant and masculine and super strong. Like, be strong in areas that you need to be strong in. You don't have to assume both roles.
Right.
You know, and then it goes back to listen to the Glorrillas, the Cardi B's, the Mega Stallions, the Nicki Minaj's and stuff. Like, you gotta realize all of them are preaching about how they don't need a man.
And they all got men.
Yeah, and degrading the man. But look at them. They all on Instagram Live. They all on the internet crying over a man.
Yeah.
So they preaching to these young women, these fantasies, but they're getting their heart broken left or right. So obviously their way isn't working.
Right.
Right? It's not working. Cardi B, Offset. So she got all that money. She look how she looks. She getting all this work done to her body. He still left her.
Yeah.
Look who. Well, I don't even want to get into the Nicki situation, but you know who she. Yeah, you know. But I'm just saying, just look at all these women that's telling you all this stuff. Look at Tory Lanez and Megan Thee Stallion. Right, he got that type of woman that's a mega star and all this other stuff, and it still didn't work with her. Like, so it's showing you that way isn't working. You have to allow a man to be a man, right? If he ain't the man for you, just leave him. Don't
assume the role. Just don't assume the role of a man. Because I feel like it even goes like further, like to, you know, like childhood. So many people, especially like minorities, have grown up in single parent households.
Yeah.
Specifically, like mom is the head of the household. So a lot of women, just like I was saying yesterday, you know, like basically trying to be like shown how to be a man from a woman, it didn't work. So now like you see, you know, like mom, and I could be wrong, but you see mom now assuming both roles, you know, like both the man and the woman in the household, and she's like showing her daughters, yeah, you could be independent, but it's also giving somewhat of a hatred of men.
Yeah, because look at it. When a woman get done with the man, she start making decisions for that kid when he can see the kid, when he can do this. Like, a kid need their father. I don't care what they say. Kid need their father. Now it's up to that kid to determine, do I want my dad in my life or not?
Right.
Let them make that. Don't make that decision for them, because he can probably be an asshole to you. Excuse my language.
Yeah.
But he could be everything to that kid.
Right.
Right. So don't let your personal feelings project on that kid. Like, because he might not love you, but he probably.
If heaven offer rides, Lord, order me a lift. I'm just trying to be in your presence since you blessed me with this gift. All of my friends dead and gone. No time to right their wrongs. Heaven must.